supernatural entities. Some say it's superstition, others say it's overactive imagination. But then there's others who say that they're real and they have a serious effect on this realm. Now, to avoid sounding like a conspiracy theorist, I mainly rely on empirical data and things that can be proven through the scientific method of sound, seeing, taste, touch, feel, things that we can observe and get constant results. But this story doesn't really have a basis in logic or reasoning. It's just something that goes unexplained to this day. What is good, my little bulls and ghouls? It is your boy, LilSauceLegend, and today I'm going to spin you a little limerick from my childhood. Since it's the month of October, I felt like it would be necessary to give you guys a little fright. So here's a story about the worst spiritual encounter my family ever had. Now, this takes place back in 2012. I was in my room at the time, and my brother woke up so he can go to the bathroom. Now, the way my house is set up, you can see the living room because the main hallway is a deviation from all the separate rooms. When you walk out of any of the rooms in the house, you can look down the hallway and see the living room. So, my brother looks down the hallway into the living room and sees something sitting on the couch. The living room was dark, so he couldn't tell. Being confused, he called my sister, because she always had a habit of inviting people and not telling anyone. She has since broke out of this habit. So he calls her and asks, "Who's that on the couch?" And she looked at him as if he was stupid, and she told him, "Are you stupid? There's no one on the couch." His eyes opened very wide and told her to stop screwing around and tell him who was that sitting on the couch, but she swore there was no one there, and she called my mom out of her room. But my mother was asleep at the time, so when she woke up out of her groggy state, she shook my father awake to go send him in the living room to deal with it. And being the type of person that doesn't like to be woken up, he was a little perturbed to be woken up in this situation. And he went to the living room with my brother and waved his hands back and forth in front of the couch, saying, "There's no one here." My brother, in a scared tone of voice, confirmed, "Yes, there is. You honestly can't see him?" Now, this is when my dad, aggravated, threw the lights on and waved his hands back and forth against the couch again, repeating the phrase, "There's nothing here." Now, here's something about my brother. He's a pretty strong individual emotionally. He's pretty tough, in my opinion. Death doesn't scare him. He has recounted numerous tales about when he was close to death, and there was no fear in him at all. But my sister told me that the look on his face was not that of a strong individual. It was of a rabbit faced with death. It was as if time had slowed and showed my brother an unforeseen reality where fear is all he could see. He was awing. Terror personified. As my brother began to open his lips and said, "His eyes. He has no eyes." Then my father stopped and looked at my brother's face and looked back at the couch. Then my brother said, "He's staring at you now." My dad backed away from the couch. They didn't know what to do, so they called my mother, and she came into the living room with a bottle of holy oil and started praying, saying things like, "Get out of my house and the blood of Jesus rebukes you." And my sister says this is when my brother broke and started to cry in terror as he told my mother that whatever the fuck that thing was, not only did it not leave, but it was smiling at him. My mother, furious, poured the bottle of holy oil on her hand and smacked the couch right where she said it was sitting, and yelled at it to leave, casting it out, telling it to go to the pits of hell where it belongs, to never come back. But when she did that, my brother says the smile it once had, cocky and arrogant, slowly faded into a scowl of disapproval and disgust as it got up and floated out of the house. Now, I was asleep during this whole encounter, and I haven't seen my brother shaken up as I did when I woke up to see him. Now, I don't know if he saw what he saw, but you can't just have a manic episode like that with no history of schizophrenia in your family. But I do know this. I do pay attention to more things, and I keep my eyes open, for you never know what you might see. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.